Bot goes, Droid goes, Mac goes, Linux goes, servos go, lights go, hydraulics go.
Hello everyone, how you doing? This is Steve Favis with the Mr. Robots podcast, broadcasting from the beautiful state of Texas. I came here for more more fruitful times as far as investment and networking and building out new facilities for my robotics development, basically. So I'm enjoying this the state very much. It's very beautiful. I want to cover some stuff on the podcast. Number one, if you are interested in this podcast, if you like this show, please sign up on our mailing list. The URL is at the bottom of the screen, right there on a ticker. Mr. Robots, that's spelled MisterRobots.com. We are launching this show on Rumble, and we have some awesome, exciting announcements coming up in January regarding the robotics development and other stuff. So, also, I'll be hosting a meetup online, maybe occasionally in person, in the Austin or Houston area, basically. It depends on attendance and interest in the group, and group attendance and participation, basically. So, great place to network, great place to meet people, and talk about artificial general intelligence, or AI. If you are interested in AI, you do not have to be a developer to join. You're welcome to join the group and listen and discuss, basically. So, also on the corner of the screen here, right there, I have a URL you can scan with your smartphone. QR code URL, basically, that goes to the Meetup site tomorrow. That's the 18th, Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. I'm having that online meeting. We're gonna have a little bit of a discussion on AGI, AI, and war, basically. So we're gonna talk about the future of war and current technologies that are in war right now. And we're also going to do a little bit of a hackathon that's sort of a pseudo D&D, basically. Real world modern day Dungeons and Dragons for modern warfare. I'll set up a scenario. We'll break up in teams and have 30 minutes to put something together for a certain scenario using AI and prototyping. So we won't physically do the coding or the prototyping. We'll just sketch something out on a notepad, and then we'll discuss our solutions to the scenario, basically. So it should be a lot of fun. Once again, that's tomorrow, right there on the URL. If you go to bit.ly/AGI-Texas, you will be able to see the meetup and join it. It should be a lot of fun. So this week, in the last week or so, we had an FTX crash, or not an FTX crash, FTX, the cryptocurrency exchange, crash, basically, along with everybody losing their money in the exchange. Rumor has it, I guess, that a lot of the stuff was funneled from Ukraine to the Democratic Party, apparently, and what surprises that at this point in time with the current regime, and little checks and balances on what's going on with the money inside of Ukraine right now. Rumor also has it that that weapons that the United States is giving to Ukraine are being sold on the dark web. So if you want to buy a Stinger missile, you can go to the dark web and get one probably at a pretty good deal if you want to pick it up somewhere in the Ukraine area, basically. So I believe this has triggered United States arms inspectors to take an inventory of what's being used and what's been sent, and what tools or weapons have been used, stolen, or destroyed, or recovered by the U.S. Army. By the Russian Army. So technically, there are boots on the ground, American boots on the ground there to inspect what weapons are where, which is the scary part at this point in time. So who knows where these Stinger missiles or whatever weapons are going to show up if they're not being used against the Russian army in Ukraine. Again, some simple statistics on Ukraine versus Russia. I think Ukraine had a standing army of around 250,000 or so from a Google search, And Russia has over 2 million, basically 2 million people, standing army of people, 2 million. So you can do the math, and the numbers realistically don't really line up as far as who can win this war. The United States should pull out of it, in my humble opinion. It's causing huge agitation by Russia, and we're just in a very, very dangerous situation for potential for nuclear war, which nobody wants. Mad or mutually assured destruction, basically. So it's kind of a sad situation. There are United States mercs or mercenaries over there right now. Russia's reporting all the mercs that are fighting in Ukraine, all the dead casualties. I highly recommend you check out Telegram as far as Russian war videos. Some of it is Russian propaganda, some of it is Ukrainian propaganda, but the videos are real, and some of the tactics they are using are pretty sinister for the small squad attacks and stuff like that. Number one, they seem to be using a lot of grenades. They look like 40 millimeter grenades dropping from drones onto people. If anybody's ever flown a drone high enough, you can't really hear the drone, and you can't really see it either. You just don't expect it. Obviously, the drone can see the people below you with the camera, and they've rigged them with explosives so they can literally drop grenades, like 40 millimeter grenades, which are pretty big grenades. And you can see some videos of Ukrainians and Russians getting blown up by these things. So this is the future of warfare, basically. We're going to see drones dropping grenades on people. There's some pretty nasty videos and gross videos. If you are sensitive to watching stuff like that, just stay away from it. But if you are curious what the today generation of warfare looks like, please check out Telegram. Just type in Russian-Ukrainian war, and you'll see all these videos that are surfacing. And these are real kills. It's like every video online, or at least on Telegram, which is being suppressed, I believe, by Google, YouTube, and Twitter. You're seeing real war footage, basically. Almost every munition now, and there has almost every munition has some sort of satellite tracking or high altitude tracking or drone tracking, and they all have video, basically. So you see these kills, you see these attacks on armored vehicles, tanks, other armored vehicles. You see them on, you see people getting blown up with landmines inside their car. You see a lot of dead bodies, and bodies have been sitting there for a while. You're seeing the carnage that's going on there from both sides. War is a disgusting thing. It's very horrible. And again, we should really seek out a diplomatic solution for all this. But you see people getting blown up with grenades. Some people have had some grenades thrown on them, and they pick them up and throw them away before they blow up. You see small squad combat. You see body cam footage of all sides, basically. A lot of propaganda being talked about on there, but the videos are real. So if you want to get a taste of how bad it is over there right now, please check out Telegram stuff right now. It's if you support the Ukraine war, if you support Ukraine, you can see what you're supporting over there, and mathematically and statistically, it's not looking very good over there. I don't care how much money America or NATO sends to Ukraine, it's not going to help the situation. It's just going to escalate it. So we need to get out of this war. So check out Telegram, and it's got a lot of footage. I was considering showing some of the footage on here, but it's just respect for the soldiers and the dead, and the investigations and the families of the dead soldiers. I decided not to, but I recommend you guys check out Telegram as far as the real war journal that's going on over there, basically. So I'll cover some Chinese headlines in the news. I'm always tracking China as far as their movements, as far as technology, espionage, and stuff like that. FBI director has announced that TikTok is a national security threat to the United States of America. Now, what would you say? Why would he say that? It's obvious. Look what's happening. TikTok has user data, where people are located, who is broadcasting, what they are broadcasting, and the frequency of of their broadcasting. And this opens up a lot of national security issues because, number one, can you compromise these people, by giving them something which is, which is easy to do, either money or, women or whatever, or property, whatever, who knows, and then they could report on what's going on domestically, internally or behind closed doors, where maybe an Air Force base is at, or where an Army base is at, or where high-level military personnel are at, or our executives or whatnot, or high-level executives in America. So that's one thing. And not only that, can they compromise people on TikTok, but they're just getting a survey of people. And what's the number one thing you want in the military before or after attack or during an attack, which is going on right now? We've already been attacked by COVID. We've already been attacked. Our industry's already been attacked with economic espionage from China. And not only that, but if there is a kinetic war, or if there is guerrilla warfare, they're going to know where they want to go and who they want to get either compromised or kinetically. So this information is a national security threat, because the servers that TikTok is having they're basically not hosted, most likely, in the United States, or China has access to them in the United States. And this is something very, very bad to have. Domestically, it's already been pretty dangerous with the big tech in the United States, as far as Facebook, Twitter, and Google. The big tech has had severe influences over elections. They've been canceling the populist movement as far as who can become president, who can speak out. The cancel culture is really dangerous. And on the big picture, on the macro political perspective, we're having too much division with fake news, artificial news, and we're intentionally being divided and conquered in many ways. And most of this is happening through foreign influence, through China, George Soros, other billionaires. I don't know why we're letting large billionaires or large corporations, or specifically international state-backed communist organizations, affect our media, Hollywood, for example, our news networks, to influence false narratives and stuff that are just designed to divide us, basically. This is a very dangerous situation we're in right now. This is called fifth generation warfare. The new kind of war is not necessarily kinetic, where bombs and bullets. The new kind of warfare is influence and public relations, and also finance, basically. So again, as you look at this crypto exchange crash happen, this is again part of the fifth generation warfare that's going on right now. We are at war, whether you like it or not. Sadly, most Americans are sleeping, have no clue as to what's going on as far as the financial manipulation, the big tech manipulation, the mainstream media manipulation, and not only that, all the technology that's been stolen from the United States. There's a huge apathy towards it. And again, the elections are they're not kosher anymore, basically. So again, I talked about this on a previous podcast. The best solution we can have to recover this election fraud is a good constitutional sheriff that can enforce election fraud and investigate it first, enforce it, and stop it, basically. So if you aren't aware now, the chief law enforcement authority is your constitutional sheriff, or your sheriff. Your sheriff has more clout, legal clout, than your state or the federal government. So between the president and your sheriff, the best person to go to for problems is your sheriff. And the sheriff is elected in America. It came from the old world, where the sheriff was called the reeve of the shire, who was appointed by the king to enforce law. But the great part about America is the Constitution was developed or created with local government in mind, where local government is superior over the central government. So again, in our precincts, we vote for our law enforcement authority, or our chief law enforcement authority. and hopefully our constitutional sheriffs that are elected will enforce and investigate election fraud. So please pay attention. The most important election that we have in our districts are our sheriffs. Get to know your sheriff. Vote for the sheriff you like, and always ask him if he'll or she will enforce the Constitution. That's really important. And anyways, going back to the China threat. Um, there's another press release on Epic Times regarding Hikvision. It's spelled HIK Vision, which are Chinese-made security cameras. And I had these in my house. I had them for my house and my office, but after I realized that there's security issues with them, I stopped using them basically. So I don't have a Hikvision anymore. All my surveillance and security equipment will definitely be American made from now on. I'm staying away from Chinese made video cameras and stuff like that, just for obvious reasons. Nvidia is going to sell repackaged A100 chips in China, bypassing U.S. export restrictions. This is a very important topic to cover here. If you know anything about AI or you develop on AI, some of the most important hardware you could have is the easiest stuff to build and design AI hardware with is some of NVIDIA's technology. NVIDIA is a hardware manufacturer where they manufacture GPUs or graphics processing units. And there was a GPU shortage maybe about a year and a half ago, maybe about a year and a half or 2 years ago, where these GPUs, which are not only used for deep learning, but they're also used for gaming. So if you're a developer, you had two reasons to buy a nice video card from NVIDIA, because you could game on it, and you could also create some pretty awesome deep learning algorithms and do some cool research on it. So what happened though is NVIDIA is now bypassing export laws, and I suspect, this is my intuition, this is my gut call here, is that that we are preparing, or the world internationally is preparing for an AI war in which GPUs or compute is strategic, has strategic value. And what I mean by that is algorithms are computed and data is computed through these GPUs. GPUs are, to the best of my knowledge, from what I've seen in the last couple of years, are the superior compute technology to get a model driven and created for AI or whatever it is. Whether it could be anything from computer vision, it could be anything from swarms, it could be anything from audio processing, it could be anything from facial recognition. It could be basically anything that takes intelligence to, or compute or intelligence to look up or process, basically. And these also include targeting and autonomy, basically. So if you think about, if I were to choose between a cluster of AI and a battery of missiles or rifles, I would choose a cluster of AI. I could do more damage with a cluster of AI GPUs than I could in today's war than with a battery of surface-to-air missiles or surface-to-surface missiles, or a squad of, or a platoon of people with AR-15s or whatever. So and that's because, if you think about it, we could turn the GPUs into an engine that data mines stuff from profiles of people, their politics, their beliefs, and we could create events where people are rioting against each other. For example, like divide and conquer, people that like abortion, people that don't like abortion, put them in one area, and you can do more damage to a city or people with that kind of manipulation continuously through social media or other data mining and manipulation public relations, Twitter, for example. So I believe that these GPUs are being used to create algorithms, or they're preparing to create algorithms for war. And there is one use case that I'll mention, which is the autonomy in flight. DARPA did a program where they were creating an AI fighter pilot versus a human fighter pilot. These are some of the best fighter pilots America has, and sure enough, the autonomous systems beat the American fighter pilots in all situations, basically. So, just the compute and AI model to dogfight is already superior to this day over a human fighter, basically. A well-trained human master, pilot, whatever you want to call them, ace, whatever. Computers still do better than humans as far as air warfare. So, I think this is a massive leak if NVIDIA does, in fact, ship these to China. Recently, America recommended or forced all Americans to either give up their passports that were working on hardware in China, to leave China immediately and stop working on hardware, because obviously the compute is the key to winning these wars now. Technology wins all wars, and the compute power plus the right algorithms and right execution of hardware can create an extremely dangerous situation, kinetically and via cyber, basically. So we can't have bad actors, bad state actors, as far as people who are in conflict with American values, non-allies, using these systems against us. Again, China also released a publication about maybe six months ago, where they made drone swarms navigate through bamboo fields autonomously, basically. So if you think about that, if you have a drone swarm versus somebody with a rifle, who's going to win? Or even a group of people with rifles, a squad, for example. So technically, with the right drone swarm, you have made the rifle obsolete, because you zigzag around targets, zigzag around barriers, and you could move around and avoid the line of sight, basically. So it's a very dangerous time now for war. Lethality in these wars have gone up exponentially, and it's just going to get worse. So we need to make sure we have the best tech, we have the best hardware, we have the best developers to prevent these kinds of wars, or to win these types of wars. So we can't have important hardware being shipped to a foreign adversary. So locking down NVIDIA, I believe NVIDIA is a multinational corporation. I believe it's owned by mostly by Taiwan, but there are some investors that are international. The CEO, I believe, is from Taiwan, but again, it's still a multinational corporation. And I have taken Department of Commerce export training and controls, and it's important that these companies do obey the export controls. We don't want key AI equipment or AI gear going to China, which is definitely preparing for war right now. Everything's being shut down there. Their supply lines and factories are being built and preparing for a war footing, basically. So not everybody's aware of this right now. You got to look it up. Fact check me if you want. But again, it's very dangerous to sell deep learning hardware to foreign adversaries. So it's just a dangerous, dangerous time. This podcast is getting a little bit longer. What I'll do is I'll conclude this with that stuff. As far as the meetup, check this. Scan this on your phone. Hopefully, I'll see you there tomorrow night on the Zoom meeting, and join the meetup. Join me on Mr. Robot's email list, and we're gonna have some awesome announcements going on around January. So please, please join the mailing list. And thank you so much for listening. I'll sign out now. Hope to see you there tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.
iPod goes, Droid goes, Mac goes, Linux goes, servos go, lights go, hydraulics go, dot matrix goes, and disc go, keyboards go,